Hey folks, do you know the saying, bad news has wings? It means that bad news flies faster than a jet plane, while good news crawls slower than a snail. This saying is very old, but it is still true today. Why? Because we live in a world where we are always surrounded by bad news from everywhere. We hear about wars, disasters, crimes, scandals, and tragedies every day. We see them on TV, on social media, on newspapers, and on websites. We can't escape them, even if we try. But is this a good thing? Does knowing all the bad news make us happier, smarter, or better? Or does it make us more stressed, sad, or bitter? How does it affect our mood, our health, our relationships, and our decisions? You might think that this is a new problem, but it is not. People have always been interested in bad news, even before the invention of mass media. In fact, there are similar sayings in other languages and cultures that express the same idea. For example, in French, they say, news goes fast on wings. In Spanish, they say, bad news flies. In German, they say, bad news has wings. In Chinese, they say, bad news spreads 1,000 miles. These sayings show that people have always recognized the power and speed of bad news. They also show that people have always been curious and fascinated by bad news. But why? What makes bad news so attractive and irresistible? There are many possible reasons for this. Some psychologists say that bad news triggers our survival instincts and makes us pay more attention to potential threats. Some sociologists say that bad news creates a sense of solidarity and empathy among people who share the same problems. Some philosophers say that bad news challenges our beliefs and values and makes us question our existence. The fact is that bad news has a strong impact on us. It can influence our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors, and our choices. It can also affect how we see ourselves, others, and the world. So what can we do about it? How can we cope with the constant flow of bad news? How can we balance our need for information with our need for well-being? There is no easy answer to these questions. But there are some things that we can try to do. We can limit our exposure to bad news and choose reliable sources of information. We can focus on the positive aspects of life and look for good news and stories. We can express our feelings and opinions about bad news and seek support from others. We can take action and contribute to solving the problems that cause bad news. We can remember that bad news is not the only news and that there is still hope and beauty in the world. These are some of the ways that we can deal with bad news and its effects. They are not perfect solutions, but they can help us to cope better and to live happier. The saying, bad news has wings, reminds us of the power and speed of bad news, but it also reminds us of the importance and value of good news. Good news may not fly as fast or as far as bad news, but it can still reach us and touch us. It can still inspire us and motivate us. It can still make us smile and laugh. So let's not forget about good news. Let's not let bad news overshadow good news. Let's not let bad news take over our lives. Let's give good news a chance to fly. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. If you did, please share, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to stay positive and optimistic.